Forget all you know about podcasts. We welcome you to an experience uniquely different. Please join us for our coverage of all entertainment on the fringe of society. The candles are lit, the lights are down low. It is now time to welcome our host as he steps up to the pulpit. The sacrifice has been prepared for the midnight black mass.
Ghastly greetings, groovy ghoulies, and welcome to another edition of the Midnight Black Mass Podcast. I am your host, the Maniacal Mystery of the Occult, the Reverend Dan the Dragon Wilson, here alongside my partners in crime. First, he is the Mouse of Hell, and he is retired from professional wrestling already. Andrew Alexander, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. It's good to be back on the most unruly of all podcasts.
It certainly can be. And my other co-host here, a man who just competed in his 9th and final Hardcore Hell Spectacular, the Strong Style Psycho Tank. How are you, brother? How you feeling?
What's going on? I feel fine. So was that my 9th one or my 10th one? I'm all confused.
No, that was your 9th one.
Okay. Well, I thought that was 9 going into 10. Anyway, yeah, my 9th Hardcore Hell. That's pretty sweet.
I can't wait to see what he does at his 10th one next year.
Fuck you.
If you don't know what we're talking about there, of course, Tank, one of our mentors, and it was just a fixture in the Southern wrestling scene, and so far beyond. You know, he had a big run in IWA Mid-South. He hit a lot of the Northeastern Indies, has done some CZW appearances, appeared in Mexico, done some Canadian stuff. I mean, he's been all over the place. He's retiring this August. And so Andrew has made it a point to tell him every day, I guess, to try to hold him to it or shame him into staying retired when he finally does. But he's basically been saying it's going to be a Terry Funk retirement. I don't believe it. I think he's serious. I think, he does probably want to stay involved in the business, but I think I believe him. So what say you, Tank?
Oh, man, after Phoenix City, I'm done. That's sort of being an in-ring.
It's not a shoot shaming, though, because there's no shame in it, and it's not one of those, any fan is going to be happy that I'm right. Like, no one wants to see him retire. That way he comes back, they'll always welcome it. But it ain't going to happen.
We'll see.
I've proven there's always little loopholes. There's ways around doing it but not doing it. And the King of the Death Match can do all the unsanctioned street fights he can imagine. He can do those for years to come. And those are not real matches.
Nope. Well,
very true. Very true.
Scatman Tank, Or
the Strong Style Psycho Tank is retiring.
Hardcore Hell 20 Tank versus Larry Goodman Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Don't let him get you with the pencil. He doesn't use a pencil anymore. Now he'd have to hit you in the head with a laptop.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's talk about the event that was Hardcore Hell this past Saturday.
Well, the history of Cornelia since I've been back involved has been well documented on this program. Of course, it's been a legendary facility where many top stars over the years have been developed, and also, not just a training ground, but also just some great, insane product, and really a true tribute and herald to Southern wrestling, and many times the only people really with the balls enough to do some of that stuff down this way. And so, but it's been so many things over the years, but it kind of fizzled out over the last decade. It went from the run of Jerry Palmer in Anarchy. Of course, well, you can take a step back, of course, NCW, super hot when it started back in the late 90s, and then became NWA Wildside and only got bigger from there. And then Anarchy came and took over. So you had several very successful periods. It was never a giantly consistent money-making successful periods, but enough to keep things going and keep churning out a good product and helping guys get to the next level. And so when Jerry Palmer sold the promotion to Franklin Dove, Franklin came in and had a good hot start. And then, he just was a busy guy. He's a lot of irons in the fire. He's a very prominent businessman, traveling overseas and stuff. So he didn't really have a lot of time like he thought he was going to maybe be able to, or, have people there to do it for him, because you just have to be in town to do the promotion, and he was living very far away. So ended up fizzling a little bit. He sold to Charles Anschutz from Southern Fried. And Charles made a little bit of a go of it, but, again, running two promotions, and one of them is his baby and one that he kind of bought. Of course, the one that's his baby is going to take priority. So that didn't last long. He ended up selling to Danny Only. And Danny Only started Why We Wrestle. And Danny found that his strong suits were not behind the camera, that he probably took on way too much. His eyes were a little bit bigger than his stomach when it came to what he could envision and what he could execute. And so it never really achieved full potential. He brought me on as the booker in April. It had been open since November. I still wasn't sure what he was going for, so I just went back to doing things the way I knew how to do them. We had some moderate success, but he was still learning the business end. But then, of course, Rick Michaels came on board in December of 2016, took over the business side of things completely, hired me back on as the booker. It's not that I left, but, I'd gotten to the point where While We Wrestle, where I was like, is this thing even going to continue? And so Rick came aboard and said, yes, it is. And I want you to stay on board. So it did. And the combination of me and Rick together, we hit that sweet spot, and we started getting this momentum. And so Hardcore Hell has always been the annual big show of the year, and we really strive from day one, like we knew this is what we were building to. So let's get in here and do some of the best work of our careers. And he hustled on his end, and I hustled on mine. A lot of sleepless nights, a lot of late night phone calls, a lot of hard work from a lot of good, loyal talent, who I would go to war with in a heartbeat. One thing I kept getting after Hardcore Hell from the talent that meant the most to me was, man, this feels like the old days. This feels like a family again. This feels like a team again. That's what I've been going for, and that's what Rick's been going for. So we had a sold-out crowd, Turnaway House. First one since 2006. I don't know how many people they turned away, but I saw a lot of them heading to their car very disappointed. Several came on in and took a standing room only seat until we couldn't fit any more in there. It was an atmosphere like no other when that building is packed, and they care about everything. Top to bottom, huge night. Of course, we'll touch on Tank stuff right away. It was the Dream Partner tag match, 4 Corners of Pain. It started out, it was originally just going to be the Implement of Destruction, Iceberg's stabby weapon, on a pole, with Iceberg versus Strychnine. This was booked back in January after Strychnine and Jacob Ashworth won the Sadistic Santa match, which granted each of them the right to pick any match they wanted in 2017. Strychnine picked that match. Jacob picked the title match against Gunnar Miller. Strychnine wanted revenge on Iceberg. But after the attack on Danny Only from Jeff G. Bailey and Iceberg and Gunnar Miller, who was at the time the matchmaker, he was retired, was trying to do administrative job that he was already over his head in, and he got butchered by those guys. So Strychnine said he wanted a Dream Partner tag match because Iceberg's always had somebody help him jump him. So he wanted, if you're going to have somebody come to jump me from behind, let's just fight it out. So he made it a Dream Partner tag match, and he upped the ante. Instead of just one corner, let's do all corners and make it 4 Corners of Pain. And so, as the promo said that aired on the screen, and who else did you expect Iceberg was going to pick in a Dream Partner tag match? His most legendary partner of all time, the Strong Style Psycho Tank. Strychnine picks a surprising pick by many because he retired due to some horrific injuries. But, sometimes going through a shitstorm in your life will forge you to be ready to fight a motherfucker. And that's what happened with Danny Only. That was the pick for Strychnine's partner, bringing Danny out of retirement, reforming the Hate Junkies. And they kicked some major ass, and Tank and Berg kicked some major ass. And, I firmly sat on the fence there because I got a little stake on both sides. But, damn it, man, the first two, there's only been three of that match in history. The first two Four Corners of Pain were two of the most sadistic, great story, like awesome fucking matches we ever had. So there was a high fucking bar on that match, and they touched the bar, if not vaulted over it.
Oh yeah, I thought me being a part of all three matches that this was probably my favorite one. Danny Only, Mr. Brittle, I would say he was the MVP of the match just because the ass beating he took, and he was able to walk out on his own. And Strychnine, these guys they're fucking killers, Me and Berg, we're the killers. These guys are killers too. And I thought we tore the fucking house down and gave the people what they wanted and then some. You're doing something right when Jeff G. Bailey is covering his face. And I would look over and glance over at him, and he had his face covered almost the whole fucking match. Like, oh my God, look at this crazy shit. What'd you think, Dan?
Yeah, I thought the same. I thought it was so... the atmosphere was just electric. You have that standing room only crowd. We gave them the disclaimer because what's really funny, here's a funny story. So at Hardcore Hell last year, we had a death match with Brad Cash and Masada. It's not the normal fare. I'm Southern wrestling all the way, so I love blood and guts, but I don't just do it for the sake of it. You have to have a reason. It's got to be to settle a score when two guys want to fight each other, and there ain't no other way to handle it but to let them go out there and rip each other to pieces. And wrestling is about violence. And if you take that out of it, to me, it's hardly wrestling. You got to have some element of that. Now, all the great technical matches are awesome, and they're certainly what it's all built around, but there comes a time and a place where violence must happen and blood must be shed. And so that's what happened. And we gave the warning to the people. You're going to see some nastiness. You may want to take small children out of the building if you are faint of heart, if you're weak at stomach. There was a guy last year at Hardcore Hell that rated us 1 star on Facebook and said he was never coming back because of the death match with Brad Cash and Masato, because it was so bloody and so brutal and so disgusting. And
was it a guy that said that?
Yes. And
hey, keep going.
I look on the Facebook page and I see this same guy's entire photo album from Hardcore Hell of 2017, where he's tagged a bunch of the wrestlers in the pictures he took, including the death match.
So he came back.
So, yeah, he came back. That is the point. The sold out house included the guy who said he was never coming back.
Talk about, the sold out, just walking out and seeing all the people. And I've been in that building 1,000 times, and, that was the biggest crowd I'd ever seen in there. And Franklin Dove told me after the show that we had more people in that building tonight, or that night, that NXT had in Jacksonville the night before.
Damn.
So, that's telling me something. That you guys are, y'all, I was just happy to be a part of it. I was invited in. That's y'all show now. I was just glad to be a part of it. And the shit y'all are doing, that's what's successful, is what, the booking and the advertising. And Rick Michaels, he knows his shit. And, it could only get better. And I think it's going to get better with the guys you're bringing in and what have you. And but this getting off that, but as far as the match, it was a doozy. I was a little sore yesterday. I ended up with like 32 thumbtacks in the palm of my hand. That kind of sucked. Trying to jerk off right-handed, but I couldn't do it. So I was like, hell, I have to do it left-handed.
The old stranger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was You know, not to kiss nobody's ass too much, but that's what I was thinking when Dan was running down the kind of that quick history of the field in the past 10 years. Well, more than that, really. But of all the people I've met in the wrestling business, if I made a top 10 of people who know their shit, Rick Michaels and Dan Wilson would damn near be at the top of it, probably. So having those combined, that's pretty impressive shit. I mean, to be completely honest with you, if I gave two shits about professional wrestling, I would be down there at that show trying to get involved somehow, just because the conversations and the learning and the stuff, you know, that side of the business that I've always enjoyed would just be amazing. Throw in Jeff G. Bailey, and then always, of course, you never know who's going to pop in, like a Tank coming back and guys like Iceberg, but Dan and Rick, that's got to be just like an unbelievable learning experience. I hope guys in the locker room can even fathom or have a fucking clue what they have in front of them. You know, a lot of guys I see on that card, I don't know them, but I hope they're aware of the opportunity they have, because I learned a lot of shit in my time in the business, and most of it came from that building. I mean, and if it wasn't from that building, it was from people who grew in that building. So I hope the talent knows what they have in front of them.
Well, like I was telling,
I
appreciate that. On the car ride down, you know, on the car ride down, you know, I told Gunner, I'd wrestled 5 years before I stepped foot in that building, and my career really didn't start until 2001 when I started wrestling at Wildside, because I learned pretty much everything there. The guys who trained me, you know, I told you the other day, they taught me how to fight and defend myself, like shoot fight. Bobby Hayes taught me how to work, but then I went down there, and that's where I learned psychology. You know, when to do what, how to work TV, you know, the hard cam and this and that, and then getting the chance to wrestle guys like Rick Michaels, who is one of the most underrated wrestlers ever in the fucking South. And David Young, and we all know what the hell he's done and what he can do. And I saw him wrestle back in Rome, and in November, he ain't had a match in 2 years and still blew the roof off the fucking place.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's been a year. He wrestled at last year's Hardcore Hell against Anthony Henry in a hell of a match.
Tore it up.
We've tracked down that footage, so we're hoping to re-release that now that we're starting to get our video. Folks, big news, Hardcore Hell will be released on video. There's a camera mix copy with commentary and everything that will be hitting the shelves and on sale on April 8th at the live event. Will also be debuting later this month on Powerbomb TV. It is fucking official. Finally, after me pulling what's left of my goddamn hair out, we have video products. Thank you.
That match was
nice.
that match last year with David and Anthony Henry was goddamn awesome. Probably the best match on the card. And then I saw David work Iceberg in Rome, and he says he's fat and out of shape, and he can still go. It's just the talent that's been through that damn building. Hell, look at AJ Styles. He's the number. Would you say he's top 2 guys in the fucking company in WWE right now?
Oh, he's the best worker.
In my humble opinion.
Oh, he's definitely the best worker, and he sells more merch than anybody.
Phenomenal?
So.
Dan, would you say he's phenomenal?
I would say that. I said that a long time ago, huh?
Yeah, man, it's not just the guys that come through the building. I mean, because, there's a lot of guys you can throw out there that have wrestled there. But, I mean, the guys that have been there, like, for years, that wrestled there for, like, a decade, man, if you went through that list, fans probably can't even realize, and maybe younger guys probably can't even realize. But, dude, I don't know if Rick Michaels, God damn, he should have had a job in the WWE for so long, not making fucking gear, wrestling on TV. David Young, the same thing. And then you can just go down the list, man. I'm not exaggerating. Iceberg, Tank, Adam Jacobs, Michael Judas, Jeremy Vane, Phil Shatter. Fuck. And when the guys towards the bottom of that list are guys like Sean Tempers and Ace Rockwell, you know it's a pretty fucking talented list because those guys are like two of the best that come through there too. It's like they've had so many guys that are better than a lot of guys that have opportunities right now on TV, WWE, Impact, Ring of Honor, all of that. I mean, so many guys that fans all over the world have just missed out on because they didn't have the breaks or exposure that, you know, a lot of guys have now, and it's a shame.
I mean, I think David and Rick could both be coaches. David and Rick could both be coaches at NXT. No fucking problem. The kids down there will learn more. I mean, I sat and listened to Rick at the Senate City Rumble. There was a kid who kind of come in with a little bit of attitude over some money and this and that. And I sat there and listened to Rick talk to this kid, and the kid has like done like a full 360 turnaround, like, oh shit, I'm doing all this shit wrong. Just from one fucking conversation. You know what I'm saying? And you just sit and listen to him. And there's sometimes when I would work with Rick years ago, I'd be like, man, that's fucking stupid. That don't make no sense. And I'd go out and do it, and the crowd reacted to it in a positive light, and I'd be like, damn, he might be the smartest motherfucker I know in the business.
He's so good. Like, yeah. Having him there in the, like, cause, you know, he does his job on the promotional end, but, you know, when the show's going, I'm not booking shit and he's not promoting. We're doing other shit. I'm now commentating again, which I'm like, that was really kind of emotional for me to get back out there for the first Hardcore Hell since 2005 in the play-by-play booth. It's Day of the Dragon one more time. And, you know, I'm loving being able to do that again. And, you know, I don't know if I'm going to fucking go back to managing because I love it so much. But not only that, but, you know, working with the guys during the matches and having a guy like Rick there as a guy to give ideas and help out. And Andrew, if you ever get off your fucking ass and pull that stick out of it, you got a spot right there in the fucking gorilla room helping me with those motherfuckers. So you just let me know when you're fucking ready, motherfucker.
Man, I honestly, it's a very tempting offer for sure, but I don't know, man. It's not fair for me to take anything away from anybody that would want to do stuff because there's a lot of guys hungrier than me that, you know, could even do something like you're suggesting. And that, man, it's hard, man. I made that. Y'all know how hard that drive is to make all the time, and it's hard to jump back in that and not be committed 100%. Especially when it's guys like you and guys I'm friends with and shit. You don't want to not be able to give 100%. And I just, I'm afraid to dip my toe back in the water. I get invited almost every show. Somebody invites me. Hey, write down, and I'm like, no, leave me alone. Even though
it was
I have a great time, but that's part of the reason I don't want to go once, because then I'll be like, oh, I could do this every other week, and then in 6 months I'm like, what the fuck have I done?
Man, they got that paid for it. I mean, goddamn, they have a badass racetrack right down the road that has froyo. I mean, shit. And donuts. I mean, you can't fucking beat that.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, we got home at 2:30 on a big show, man. That's like back in the day. That was 7 or 8 or maybe like 5 o'clock the next day. Like, you know, you never knew. But you know, hell, we're old, and responsible now. Like I'll party every now and again, but not on the road. Wrestling's work now, son. Get out there and hustle them dollars and hustle that passion and fucking, you know, we can party when we get home. We always like look and see, okay, like how fast can we make it home? We usually, on a normal show, we're usually home by 1:30, and that ain't too damn bad.
Yeah, that's early compared to back in the day. And me and Tank, we'd ride together. We wouldn't hang out afterwards. Really, we'd come straight home, and shit, we wouldn't get home at no 1:30.
Hell no. Yeah, it's all business now, man.
We always had to make that pit stop at Crystal and get the fucking sweet bites. That was always a given.
Fucking sweet bites and gut bombs and
Just telling stories. Yeah, it was good times. We need to talk about something else. I ain't going to no fucking Cornelia.
Look, we about got him talked into it, Tank.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not going to go every match, like just a couple of highlights. Tag title match was incredible. 2 out of 3 falls, with each fall with a stipulation, the Monarchy and the Lynch Mob. The Lynch Mob putting the final exclamation point on their tag team title victory, firmly and soundly defeating the former champions in a hell of a match. 2 out of 3 falls. First fall was submission, which the Monarchy took. Second fall was tornado tag rules. And then third fall was tornado tag with last man standing rules. So the Lynch Mob ended up pulling out the last 2 and retaining the titles. We also saw Crystal Rose retain the women's championship in an unlikely fashion when she kicked referee Dee Byers in the balls and got intentionally disqualified. But she won't get to do that on April 8th because they're going for a no disqualification, no count-out match. That's right, the first ever women's main event in the history of Cornelia in a hardcore match. Am I crazy? Probably, but just what you're getting. So, and a whole hell of a lot more on April 8th. We got Odinson has challenged Team Tag to a gauntlet match after what happened in their crazy 6-man lumberjack fan strap match. One of the wildest things, like, it was the Four Corners of Pain was this, like, brutal horror movie fight. And then you had the 6-man was like a circus. Like, Team Tag comes out dressed like it's New Year's Eve with their WrestleMania entrance. They have, like, all of these fucking ridiculous, like, confetti guns and fucking titty beads from Mardi Gras and fucking stupid hats. And they're shooting confetti all over the crowd and shit. That shit gets involved in the match. Gladiator Jeremiah, who was injured by them and taken out of the match, ends up drawing one of the lumberjack strap tickets. So he's a special lumberjack at ringside. They're taking on Brad Cash 7 and Odinson and all of that crazy cast. That's one, just for that match alone, you need to get the DVD. That's worth the price of admission. The Four Corners of Pain worth twice the price of admission. And then the main event. The main event was something special because I took the Andrew Alexander formula, by God. And it's not his formula, obviously, but, you know, guess what? That's something that he always was fucking big on, and I'm big on it too. The heavyweight championship, when possible, needs to be main event, even on a card like that. Well, of course it was main event, because it was the issue that everyone cared about the most. As well it should be. Jacob Ashworth, the longtime challenger, a 10-year journey, started sweeping the floors in that building, putting up the ring, putting up chairs, cleaning up trash. He then became security, then became a referee. He worked his way up the hard way, became a wrestler, got his ass whipped, being a tomato can for everybody. And then, after a few years, the light bulb started fucking going off. And he started getting better, and he got himself in some shape. And, you know, he's not a bodybuilder, but he looks like one of those big old-school Hoss wrestlers, a Dr. Death or a Bill Watts or a Terry Gordy. He's got that big old country boy frame, but he's agile as hell. And then you have the 9-month reigning champion, Gunnar Miller, Ashworth, getting what may be his final shot at the title, and he's the most popular guy in the building. And you have Gunnar Miller, a 9-month reign as a killer, has just ran roughshod over everybody. He, as the champion, he's performed incredible feats of strength. He is a can't-miss prospect like nobody's business. Most people did not expect Jacob could beat him. But we had a little surprise legend there added at the last minute. The ticking time bomb, Scotty Wren, former Wildside champion, was the special guest enforcer out there to try to neutralize Jeff G. Bailey. Did a good job of that to where it was just Miller and Ashworth. And the hometown boy pulled it out in one of the most emotional endings to an event I've ever seen. The tears were flowing. People in the audience were crying. People in the ring were crying. Jacob brought his family in there. His kid was crying. His girlfriend was crying. All the boys came out and put him on his shoulders and gave him the old Super Bowl celebration. And he switched up the name of the promotion there, you know, like this was a co-promoted event of Why We Wrestle in Anarchy. It was kind of the transitional show. And so the show opened with the Why We Wrestle theme, and Jacob cut his little victory speech. and then kicked it to graphics, and then they fucking showed the Why We Wrestle logo went away, and Anarchy was back. And so I can't think of a better way to be off and running into 2017 now.
Did he say the name may be Anarchy, but this is Why We Wrestle and hold the title up?
No.
Well, that's because
But he should have.
If I was booking, he would have.
That was a missed opportunity, I have to say. But no, I mean, it was just fucking incredible. Like, buy the DVD or go to Powerbomb TV and get your subscription. You can, for a low monthly price, you'll be able to get Hardcore Hell and a whole lot of other great independent wrestling. So, yeah, just, fuck, man. Check out Hardcore Hell. Come to the arena on April 8th and see what everybody's talking about. We've got the Approved, who Bobby Moore and Adrian Hawkins, they'll be back taking on the new champion, Jacob Ashworth, and his tag team partner, normally here in the arena these days, Strychnine. And so be interesting to see, Danny Only still a little jacked up from that double stomp anyway, so he'll be there, but he won't be cleared to compete. Tank like to kill him with that double stomp in that match. So he's a little banged up. He's going to rest, but Jacob and Strychnine are going to be reforming that popular tag team that has done so well so far in 2017 to take on the Approved in their big $1,000 challenge. So are they going to come out of Hardcore Hell with the two biggest victories and $1,000? I mean, they might. It's very possible.
Who are they approved by?
Themselves.
Oh, well.
And of course, Jimmy Rave other places, but Jimmy Rave doesn't wrestle for us these days because he's a busy man and got other things going on. So, you can't be fucking Jimmy Rave approved. Like, I mean, some people there know, a lot of people there know Jimmy, but it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I want it to stand on its own, but they'll also, like they do that other places, it's interchangeable for them. That way they can just be the Approved if they're not affiliated with Jimmy. And if they are, they can be JRA. And that's worked out well for me.
I'm pretty sure it'll be the $940 challenge because they were successful at Hardcore Hell, and I know damn well that Bobby Moore hit up that crystals we were talking about earlier and got him a couple sackfuls. There ain't no doubt in my mind about that.
I don't know. Bobby was looking slim and trim. He better not be hitting those sackfuls of crystals if he wants to keep up this undefeated streak.
He is, man. He keeps working on his physique. I mean, he's worked on it a lot over the years. He's not looking to turn into a supermodel. He doesn't want to lose too much size because that's going to take away from his strength to pound people's brains in. But he definitely stays on top of that type of shit now, man. He's come a long way, and it's good to see. And good to see Adrian Hawkins back. I'm sure they're both little pricks, though. I mean, I don't like either one of them, to be honest with you.
Oh, they are, but damn it to hell if they haven't gelled into a fucking awesome tag team. So, good on them for that. They kicked me out of the damn commentary booth in the tag title match. I was like, look, hey, if you think you do a better job than me, go ahead. I'm busy anyway. I got shit to do back here. You do that, and I'll be back in a minute. But
I didn't really get a chance to watch a whole lot of the show because I was in the back digging thumbtacks out of my ass and my head and everywhere. But I was really impressed with Team Tag. And I asked them what the hell it stood for, and they said 3 awesome guys. And Billy Buck, he's the shit anyway. And kind of had a little run-in with Kevin Blue in the Rumble. He impressed me at the Scenic City Rumble. And then Chris Spectra, I like him because he cusses as much or more than me. So he's my new favorite wrestler.
Awesome. Those guys, man, boy, talk about taking something and running with it. They're irritating shits, but my God, they have just nuclear heat with the Team Tag. The people want to see those guys die. Who would have thought Billy Buck, because some guys like Ace Rockwell's a decent heel, but he's one of the best baby faces of his era. Like, there's certain guys who just, like Ricky Steamboat, never worked heel. There's some guys that are just better at one thing or the other. So, like, it was a risk, when Billy went heel. When he turned, like, how was that going to play? How was that going to play?
And I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it for shit.
I'll be damned if he hasn't knocked it out of the fucking park. He is so hateable. Like, he has done so good. He's got Lawler level heel shit going on, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, they hate
Oh,
this
shit. Well, I mean, once if they love you that much, you turn your back on them, and they'll sure hate you. So, and like Tank said, he's a talented motherfucker, man. He's one of the best for sure. Of course, some people have known that for many, many, many years. Took other people a little longer to get on board, but I'm glad to see he's doing well, man. And Spectra, I don't know that motherfucker. Kevin Blue, only met him like once. I can't comment on them, but I mean, I've seen video of Kevin Blue. He just looks like a little annoying little shit. So I'm sure people hate him too. But I mean, they're in a good spot, so they've got to be pretty talented, especially if they're hanging around Billy Buck.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The ending of that match, they shot Odinson in the face with a confetti cannon after attacking Gladiator Jeremiah on the outside and on his injured knee. So we're going to have some doctor's updates hopefully on April 8th. We have sent the Anarchy Wrestling video staff to Slim J doctors, or Jeremiah now. So I've called the guy Slim J for 10 years. It's still hard to get used to saying Gladiator Jeremiah for fucking 20 years. I'm sorry. Hard to get used to saying Gladiator Jeremiah, but we have sent the Anarchy video crew with him to his doctor's appointments. We're going to find out exactly what the damage is on April 8th, and, you know, hopefully we might be seeing him back in a fucking ring sometime soon. That would be nice. So we got that going on. Big debuts, 2 big debuts, huge video packages. One thing I've loved about having access to production, the like video screen to the live crowd, is you get that opportunity to build guys up before they show up. And so we've had vignettes for the last few cards, like the last 3 or 4, of Kyle Matthews under his new persona, the Nightmare. He's not claiming he's not Kyle Matthews, but he's just, he says, you know, there's so many distractions outside of wrestling when he's Kyle Matthews. But he's gotten in this new headspace where he's just kind of paying tribute to his mentor, Ted Allen. And when he puts on that mask, everything else goes away. The only thing that matters is what's in that ring. And it's almost, he compares it to like a superhero, giving him an identity or a symbol that he is, he's something more. So Kyle Matthews will reemerge as the Masked Nightmare on April 8th. And he returns home to the landmark arena, the Church of Southern Wrestling. So you don't want to miss the return of one of the best technical wrestlers in the last decade and in the continent. Always a pleasure to have him in, but now with this, like, taking his presentation to the next level with this look and this persona, like, I really think you're going to see some special things coming. We also have this crazy new character that Andrew Alexander is familiar with. Ryan Vega is going to be debuting on April 8th. You've seen the insane videos that he's sent in. So very interesting to see what he's got to bring to the table. He's going to be taking on a guy who's shown a lot. He's traveling all over the country. IWA Mid-South, CZW, AIW, AJ Gray. And he is signed on for several dates in 2017 with Anarchy Wrestling as well. And yet to get that big win, and Ryan Vega's making his debut. So that's going to be an interesting match between 2 up-and-comers. So you're going to see a lot of the future, the current. Going to be a great night on April 8th. Don't miss it. Follow us on social media at, there's so many now. Facebook.com/This Is Why We Wrestle is still there, but there's a new Facebook called Facebook.com/Anarchy Wrestling that one day we hope to finally transition all the stuff over, but we're just keeping them both open because we don't want to lose the likes, obviously. So you'll find social media on all of that. There's also a Landmark Arena Facebook page where you can find info about Anarchy as well as NCW every Friday night, $5 only. And that's Facebook.com/Famous Landmark Arena. And then you can follow us on Twitter at Why Do You Wrestle. And follow me on Twitter at Dragons Rejects. You'll get info about the events that way. We'll have info about where to purchase the DVD if you want to order the physical copy, or links to how to sign up for Powerbomb TV. So, haven't chilled that much in a minute.
What's this?
Go ahead, Tank. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, just hit the rewind button there for a second and talk about an issue I had in the Four Corners of Pain. You know, why we lost the fucking match. I was fixing to stick the sickle down Strychnine's throat, and my protege, or so I thought, Brad Cash, took the sickle away from me and got my attention away from what was going on. Strychnine got the win on Iceberg, so I one-upped him. You know, you're not going to fuck me over and not pay the consequences. They're in that six-man tag with Team Tag against Seven, Odinson, and Cash. I came out and I chokeslammed his ass on the rampway. And last I heard, he ain't doing so well. That's what happens when you fuck with me. I gave him, I was hurt last year. I was the whole Brad Cash Masada match. Supposed to have been me. I was injured. I couldn't do it. So I gave him the spot. So he has one good fucking match and thinks he's the goddamn best fucking deathmatch wrestler on the fucking planet. Well, if it wasn't for me, he'd still be carrying the piss bucket at the shit shows in East Tennessee. So he wants to step up and fuck with me. Dan, maybe Dan can talk some sense into him. He fucks with me. He's fucking with the wrong guy. That's all I got to say.
Well, that's advice I'd give anybody.
So you gave him the opportunity to face Masada in the death match?
Last year, yeah. I was hurt, so I couldn't do it. And I was like, well, let's give this guy a shot.
Some fucking favor that is. That's probably why he's mad at you. What an asshole.
I mean, he did get beat by Masada, so maybe that's where it all comes from. I don't know. I step away from the rejects to handle administration shit, and this is what happens. But hey, that's cool, man. You guys are grown men. I'm not getting in the middle of it. Like, I'm always going to support you, and I'll tell him he's a dumbass for trying to do it. But hey, man, like, I kind of admire his balls in a way too, because you're not gonna get over by picking fights with pussies and with guys who don't have any credibility. I mean, give him credit where credit's due. It might seem stupid, but if you're gonna pick a fight, you might as well pick it with the biggest and baddest motherfucker on the block.
Oh yeah, since we've been gone, he's calling himself the Devil's Reject and this and that, and had the skull put on his tight. That shit's earned. You just don't go fucking call up a gear maker and say, hey, put this cool looking skull on my shit. That shit's earned. And come in the next month or so, I'm gonna get your ass back. The choke slam on the fucking ramp, that was baby shit compared to what I'm gonna do to him later.
Yeah, that's a
good
story, man. The Devil's Rejects were around for pushing a decade before I ever got the call to join the group. So I feel bad for Mr. Cash thinking he's just going to walk in and think he's head honcho of the Rejects. That only happens if you're invited or you're dominant. And I want to mention, you mentioned those two debuts on the 8th. I believe you said the 8th. Number one, that Ryan Vega, he's a man. The whole locker room better watch out. He's a snake. He's a little snaky shit. The Team Tag, they got to run for their money as far as piss ants go, because he'll get on your last nerve, man. But he can back it up. He's young, dumb, and full of shit.
Yeah,
but then the other guy you mentioned, the Mass Nightmare. Man, it seems like maybe Kyle Matthews should find someone else that's been a mentor to him before, and somebody that has history with him to come help him, come mentor him and manage him, and make sure his career is going in the right way in Cornelia. Someone that knows him well. I can't think of anybody that could fill that role, but maybe somebody would pop up with him.
Oh, maybe. I wonder.
I guess I have to buy that ticket and come watch this shit.
What did you say, Tank?
I said who? Tyler Smith?
If you can dig that motherfucker up, people's Googling him right now. Who's Tyler Smith? I don't know if you'll find him on that.
You're like inside baseball like a motherfucker over here.
Now that we're
good time.
talking about hardcore. Now that we're done talking about hardcore hell, I got a question for both of you guys. What exactly is a hill daddy? I need to know what the fuck a hill daddy is.
I've never heard that in my life. I don't know what you're talking about.
Dan
Yeah,
knows
I'm
what
no selling. No selling. I ain't selling shit. I'm like Zeus at fucking SummerSlam '89. I ain't selling shit.
Okay, we'll drop
What
it.
are y'all fucking talking about?
You know that picture of that shit bird I sent you last night? That's a hill daddy.
Oh my God.
Hashtag hill daddy.
I'm still. Is that his moniker or something?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, I don't know.
God
about that.
damn. Okay, we can go on to other things.
Yeah, we got
Well, I
like,
mean, we only
15 minutes.
We only got about 30 seconds left, but there is a big show this Sunday coming up. It's the WWE version of Hardcore Hell.
Yes, it is. And a lot of controversy going into that. I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the crazy scandal that happened over the last couple of weeks. I know, a lot of people want to sweep that under the rug. And okay, first of all, hey, man, sex is awesome. Like, lots of people do it. Lots of people film it. But if you're famous, you got to know if you're putting your shit online, the risk is going to be out there that somebody's going to get a hold of it. So nobody should fucking shame these people because everybody's wanting to fuck. So, to me, it's like a bodily function, like taking a shit. It's rewarding. In some cases, more so. But what I'm saying is consenting adults can do whatever they want, as evident by the fact that nobody got punished. But, God damn it, what a fucking shitstorm it created amongst fans online, the righteously indignant, of course. If you ever look at any of those pictures, then you are just as guilty as the people who stole the pictures from them. Really? Because you telling me you didn't fucking look? Liar. You're a liar. Liar. Because if somebody and you had a porno laying around, you walk in the house and you popped in and thought it was something else and it started playing, you ain't gonna turn it off. You're gonna sit there and fucking watch it. I don't give a fuck who it is. You're gonna watch the morbid curiosity.
Are you talking from personal experience?
I can neither confirm nor deny. But you'll watch it, is what I'm saying. Morbid curiosity is going to get to everybody. So don't give me all this righteous indignation. It sucks for them. I understand. I'm definitely glad that Austin, one of our friends who's involved in that, didn't get in any trouble. Hate it for him that he's embarrassed, but he seems to have taken it in stride. All you can do is laugh at a certain point, right? Because everybody's got a twig and berries, if you're a dude or you're a chick, you got female parts. It's not, I don't get what the big deal is. People think way too big a fucking deal out of sex, but it was quite an entertaining fucking thing.
Well, I got a couple things. For starters, the way I found out about it was our great mutual friend, the great Muji, texted me and said, hey, there's another video out featuring someone one half of the Awesome Attraction. And my instant thought was, how the fuck did Hayden Young fuck Paige? Because I was very shocked. Now, I'm not judging at all because I'm a filthy motherfucker. But it was very interesting that what was going on. And I've got no interest in seeing my buddies fuck. But if my buddies are fucking a WWE diva, I'm going to watch it. If Tank said, hey, man. If Tank said, hey, man, I got a video of me fucking Naomi. You want to see it? I said, hell yeah, put that some bitch in. I want to watch it right now.
What if I said I had a video of me fucking Nia Jax? What would you say then?
I'd watch it out of curiosity, but I don't have to see it.
God damn it.
But I'm just being honest. I'm just saying. It's very interesting stuff. I'm glad that there doesn't seem to be any heat. And really, there shouldn't be. like you said, people do much worse shit. Big deal. Who cares? And I mean, it's not like they leaked it on purpose or whomever didn't. At least you assume. Shit was stolen. Man, if somebody hacked my computer, I would never be able to run for public office. I promise you that shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's the most fucking mortifying thing in the world is like not knowing where your cell phone is. You're like, oh fuck, like let's pick that up. Oh shit, I better have a lock on it. Fuck. Yeah. Like I hear you. It's just one of those things.
I'm one of those. I slide into that curve though. People know. I mean, I'll straight up tell you what's on my shit. There's bad shit on there. There's bad shit that you don't want to see. But the good thing about I'm smart. I got tons of shit with women's faces and all their body parts. You ain't seeing my face. All you're seeing of me, dick, maybe some legs. That's it.
Well, is there anything else to you but dick and leg?
Not really. There's no fucking substance. Spoiler alert. But yeah, you can't see my face. Voice a little bit, but
I hate it that they say like Paige is in pretty bad shape. Allegedly, this is dirt sheet shit. So who the fuck knows? Like I hate even repeating it, but they're like, she's in a mentally bad place and like her family doesn't want her left alone and shit like that. And that's fucking awful. If you're harassing this poor girl who comes from, fucking the same British town Black Sabbath came from, which like there was, nothing going on in these places. They get over here in the United States, living a lifestyle of a celebrity in her early 20s, like, and he's just experiencing, being a kid and having all this freedom but fucking being an adult. Fuck you if you're out there fucking harassing her. Like, you're just jealous because you didn't get to fuck her.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, she shouldn't be fucking. I mean, it's embarrassing, but there's no reason to be fucking suicidal over some fucking naked pictures leaking. Like, it's gonna be okay, girl. It's gonna be okay.
Oh, she'll be fine, man. And this shit'll be forgotten about in a couple months, man. Like, how many celebrities did this happen to? And it doesn't hurt anybody in the long run. Hell, it
helps them.
Yeah. She'll come back and be the most over chick on that fucking roster. You know why? Because she's fucking for people to see it. And that's what you want to see.
Oh, yeah. Like, do you not think if Brad Maddox showed up at WrestleMania, he'd be the most over motherfucker there?
Yes.
Like, people go nuts. They would go fucking nuts. Like, it's just one of those things now. It's weird. But
they call him Big Brad. Well, maybe Medium Brad.
Yeah, they should do a segment where like all three of them are in the same room together and like send you new videos, and that just be it. And fucking walk out. I think that would get a pop. Younger kids,
They need to do a segment where he's going to come back as a referee, and he's going to referee a tag title match the night after WrestleMania. And he says, I just want to make sure there's no tomfoolery. I want to make sure you call it right down the middle. And then Brad says, hey, don't worry. Me and you were on the same page. In all seriousness, man, I mean, it sucks. But fuck, just ignore it. It's going to go away. It's going to go away quick. I mean, not at WrestleMania. That shit's still fresh on people's mind. And there's going to be 70,000 people chanting God knows what. But in 2-3 weeks, the shit's ancient history.
Yeah, I agree. I fucking agree wholeheartedly. So we're down to the last 5 minutes. Any final thoughts here? It's been a great return. I didn't expect to spend the whole thing talking about like a hardcore hell recap. That's what it turned into, and I'm okay with that. Still like Jim Cornette coming back to the WWE. Haven't really talked about that in detail, but that's exciting to induct the Rock and Roll Express into the Hall of Fame. But like, come on, who else would you want to induct him? But it's just one of those hell freezing over moments. Nobody thought they'd bring him back after all that previous heat, but we know the WWE will do that. But they did it with the Ultimate Warrior and Savage and plenty of other guys. So,
dude, that is the single biggest thing I'm looking forward to at the Hall of Fame. Hands down, no close second. Like, I'm so fucking excited about that. When that news broke, Tank was the one that told me. Oh, man, I instantly went to their site and was looking to see if it was true. So excited, man, and so excited to hopefully just get him back doing anything with the company, man. I mean, I think they could find a good young tag team for it in NXT for him to manage.
Yeah, I think I know one. I give him a call.
I just think it's cool that they're letting him do it and maybe bring him back so the Midnight can go in next year. You know, I mean, or the year after. Because they're going to be in New Orleans next year, right?
Oh, yeah, dude. My God, who drew more money there besides the JYD than them?
I was just about to say JYD. But, yeah, that would be amazing.
I mean, you could have Bill Watts induct them. So, I think maybe hopefully that's part of the master plans.
Oh, and something we forgot, man. How sad was that about Jim Ross's wife, man? That was so terrible.
Yeah, oh, God, yeah. I almost cried reading some of the shit about that, dude. Like, it was, and I'd never met the lady in my life, but God almighty, that was fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah, so.
He's such a good guy. You just hate it for him. But I did read today where some of her organs have been donated, and it's already saved 4 lives. So, you know, yeah, that shit tears me up. I get teared up reading that kind of stuff. So. Yeah, she seemed like
I've heard he's doing all of his shows and all of his appearances WrestleMania weekend, and I just know that was worried about. Not from a selfish point of view, but just you want to know that he's able to get out there and still do that stuff, and you know that'll help him get through it. But oh God, it was so sad reading that. I heard when I read about the accident, it just didn't sound good. It's so tragic, man. Just not natural causes, not anything like that. Just a freak occurrence. I mean, that happens to everybody every day. So, you know, it's part of life, but it don't make it any easier. And just I've never met her, never met him, but just so sad to hear about.
Yeah, dude. Every dude's worst nightmare.
I mean, everybody that's worked with him, you know, Pritchard and Cornette both have come on their shows and talking about it. And I'm sure it probably hit Lawler really hard because they were, like, fucking tight. So, you know, he spent a lot of time with his wife traveling or just, you know, hanging out, doing things together. Yeah, it was terrible. It's I don't know if they did anything tonight on Raw to mention it, but I know on Access TV, the New Japan show, they put a little graphic up, you know, in dedication to her, which I thought was cool.
Awesome. Well, that's classy, and I'm sure WWE will do something. They're generally pretty classy in situations like that. So, yeah, man, that, like, every married dude's worst nightmare. Like, you definitely put yourself in this position. That's the news you never want to get. You could tell by his panicked reactions after the accident that it was very bad. Like, I didn't want to. I kind of expected that to be the end result just based on his first tweet. Like, it's just really sad, man. Like, thoughts, prayers, whatever you do, whatever you believe, send him to Jim Ross because he needs them, man. Hang in there, JR. You're the man. But fuck, guys. Well, that's it. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add, I would love to see, just because you can hear him talk about stuff, you know how passionate it is, and I don't know how his contract is in New Japan, but I would love to see him get to call a Mania match. You know, maybe the Fed just extending that, and they've done stuff like that before. Just let him call one match with somebody, you know, Undertaker, Triple H, just something to get him out there. And I mean, the fans always give him a great reaction. I think it'd be good for his spirits and good for the fans.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Well, fuck, guys. Great episode tonight. We're out of time. We'll be right back here, same bat time, same bat channel, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Monday night. Going to be talking more Anarchy Wrestling. Going to be talking about all the WrestleMania weekend's fallout and the crazy news from that. You're going to be talking about a whole lot more. So thank you for joining us. Fast Eddie Layne, did you have any final things you wanted to throw out there before we get out the door?
First off, hell of an episode. Loved every second of it. Second off, Beyond Ringside Back to Basics returns here to the Beyond Ringside Radio Network and ProWrestlingRadio.net. That'll be Tuesday the 28th, 9 p.m. Eastern, 9:15 p.m. Eastern, 8:15 p.m. Central Time. Check it out, BeyondRingside.com, the radio app as well, or the mobile app, as well as ProWrestlingRadio.net. My voice is gone.
Right on, man. Follow me on Twitter at Dragons Rejects or on Facebook.com/Rev Dan the Dragon Wilson. Follow Tank on Twitter at Tank_EST1996. You can follow Andrew Alexander. He is on Facebook at Andrew Alexander. If you can find him and interact with him there, he'd probably ignore you, but he might accept your request. He might. You're not going to see him at any shows.
To talk to you.
You may not see him at any shows until me and Tank get him buttered up a little more, but we're working on it. So, Tank, any appearances coming up you want to plug before we get out of here?
I got DSCW and Blue Ridge, Georgia this Saturday, April 29th, and Iron City, Tennessee, the Carnage Cup, May 6th, and Williamstown, New Jersey for On Point, the Survival of the Sickest tournament. And I actually got Brad Cash in the first round, so I'm going to get an early chance to beat the fuck out of him. Other than that, that's it.
Maybe we'll get some footage.
Oh,
Awesome. Well, hell yeah, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, fans of the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. We love hearing from you, so give us that feedback on Twitter. Anything you want to talk about, topics we're open. We've been having more of a free-form discussion on the show in the last few weeks, and it seems to have turned out well, so we're happy to keep that up. But that's it for Andrew Alexander, our producer, Fast Eddie Layne, the Strong Style Psycho Tank. I am Dan the Dragon Wilson. Keep one foot in the gutter and one fist in the gold. Good night.